Divinity on Earth. One of the great contests that's been going on, where all is running towards the light through a tunnel of darkness with great speed, pretending that there is only light at the end of the tunnel. Divinity, the quest of mankind, many claiming that apparently they are divine. Now, I want to give you a scenario in terms of divinity to reconsider what it is you're actually considering to be true. First of all, if you are to be divine, divinity would exist in multi-dimensions, and one of those dimensions would be Earth. Divinity would be the ability to direct any dimension regardless of its limitation in a way that divinity would direct it, thus in a godlike manner. Therefore, one's total focus would be on the dimension that you are in to show that you are, in fact, the divine presence in that particular dimension, and that you are, in fact, conducting yourself and directing that particular dimension in ways that support those that is not as divine as you in effective ways, and show that you truly understand what it means to act as a divine support within that dimension. Now, many claim they are divine, and I want to put it to you that the masters and the gurus throughout time, in fact, were nothing but temptations that were sent your way to tempt you into missing the point and to show you that in fact you're not divine, and therefore you're either attempting to be a guru or a master, or you are following a guru or a master. And in neither of those cases are you actually directing the dimension that you are in effectively to show that you are in fact divine. So you have missed the boat. You know, when we through the portal went to all the dimensions, we found a fascinating thing in the dimensions hereafter. There were a group that acted and claimed themselves to be the ascended masters. And you know how many they were? 70,000 of them. 70,000 ascended masters. All of them in the service of their own self-interest. None of them caring anything about what is happening on Earth, about those parts of Earth that do not have the same abilities, like your plants, your animals, your bugs, your bacteria, all of those parts that do not have the same ability to, in fact, look after themselves, most of them depending on a very cruel cycle that continuously exists on Earth to show that man, apparently the dominant species, do not truly have dominion. True dominion would be to be divine on Earth, regardless of the limitations, and to direct space-time in a way that show your divinity. Do we do that? Do we even work towards achieving that? None of these things actually exist at all. I challenge all spiritual beings in every category of spirituality you dare to categorize yourself, that you are in fact the result of your own deception, and that you're only following deception, and that you have in no way proven and shown that you even remotely understand what it would mean to direct the dimension you currently find yourself in. You can try and pretend that you're not breathing, but you'll find you'll die. So therefore, that is your first test. Do you breathe? Then you will realize that that breath determines the dimension you're in. And that dimension you're in is subject to breath, from first breath to last breath. It keeps time as breath, and it's the only thing that is relevant to determine whether you as breath is actually divine in your conduct as breath. And do you make sure that each breath, in your presence as divinity, this world, this existence, within all the resources that is here, is directed in a way that supports everything that is here to the best that it can be within the context of the limitations. That would be, by definition, divinity within the context of the limitations, within the context of the rules of this particular game. But you have dared to turn your back on your breath and on all the creation that is here at your will, at your directive responsibility, waiting for you. And you have chosen to run down the dark tunnel towards the light that is forever shifting, without realizing that in itself it is fascinating, is a tunnel where you don't breathe at all. You only get back to your breath once you realize the whole tunnel thing wasn't real, unless it's the last one and it's your last breath, and then you exit. And when you exit, you have no clue where you're going, because everything you've ever imagined is not even remotely within. Yeah, the dogs are saying, God willing, it doesn't happen to you. So, after that with the dogs, understand, if you dare, to consider that the context of your existence here has been presented in many ways, but in essence it is dominion. And that dominion would determine the nature of yourself. The current dominion of man on earth is evil. There is nothing divine of it. Therefore you have only proven one thing, that you are the evil of the universe. And as we have reached the last line of decision within the context of creation, beware that evil will not continue beyond the last breath. I suggest that you reconsider what you chase, what you give importance to, what you consider to be divine. And if you claim to be divine, I challenge you, prove yourself within the dominion of this reality. Let's see if you can handle divinity. For those of you that's ready for divinity, it is all about the system that must manage our relationships, our coexistence. It is about our co-creation in a way that represent our presence everywhere, and that presence is represented through a system. Currently, it is represented through the way we deal with money. So our presence that exists in this world currently is a presence of evil, one of separation, one of dominance instead of dominion. If you are to be divine, you will have to relook at your starting point. You'll have to consider that what you fear now, which is your survival, is not relevant, and that you should consider the survival of all species. But the very fact of the extinction of species indicate a complete disregard for life or creation, and therefore, in fact, prove the human as the actual evil that represents the potential of the universe at the moment. There is nothing else but where you are here. You can try and stop breathing to check and make sure that breathing is not an illusion. You'll pretty soon find out, within a couple of seconds, minutes, that you cannot exist without breathing, and that is the first rule of your existence. You are subject to breathing. You are less than your breath. Without your breath, you have no being. You have no feeling. You have no existence. You have no knowledge. You have no understanding. You have no relationships. You have no money. You have nothing in this earth. Make sure that every breath counts in a way that it accounts for all your actions, and that you are accountable for your breath, and that accounting proves your divinity as breath here in how you direct and have dominion on earth. Join us at Destiny and Equal Money, where we establish systems of divinity. Are you divine or not? That depends with whom you walk.